Welcome back to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. And I have a sneaky feeling that some are going to join today that haven't watched any other Crow videos yet up to date, because I feel like you're ready to be with us now, everyone. So I really appreciate you showing up today and stepping up to be receiving these messages. I have a lot to share. I think I'm going to do 2 videos back to back today. So please be sure to watch the next video that I post. I'm not entirely sure who I'm going to bring it forward with, this information that I'm kind of sitting on right now. But I channeled this message really late last night from Alistair Crowley. If you find yourself here for the first time and you're not entirely sure why, I would suggest maybe starting at the beginning of this series at least, or heading over to the Darkness series that is also in our playlist to kind of get a grasp of, apologies everyone, I'm still really sick, kind of get a grasp of where I find myself right now, channeling these, I guess, other dimensional entities, alongside spiritual essence is what I want to share. And I think we're coming to a very pinnacle point in understanding and just everything that we thought that we once knew being completely blown off its axis, and a whole different vibration stepping forward for us to understand. So please go easy with self today with this message, because there is a lot here. I'm going to share a few things afterwards that I think that might be helpful for some. But I also wanted to share that over the past week and a half, I've been in a very I guess, elusive and illusionary state to some degree. I feel like I've been traveling back in time, where I literally feel like I can sense the air of a time that once was. So I've been kind of sifting through my 20s. I've told you about this before in a previous video, but it's very visceral, this understanding. It's like I'm understanding what I was feeling at that time, how I was sensing things at that time, and understanding that my awakening was happening in those spaces, but I just didn't know what it was back then. And I'm kind of coming back to an understanding that, I've been slowly awakening my whole entire life, and so many incidences are coming back to mind, and I thought, oh my gosh, like I've been having these really profound experiences all along, but I just didn't have any way to ground it into this reality. I think there were so many things that I just shrugged off and brushed off as, oh, that was strange, that was weird, okay, did that really happen? That I'm now having to circle back and look around again and say, this was totally happening, and this has been part of my path, and this is part of my journey. So to those that need confirmation and validation, like you certainly have it here, please do not brush anything off as your imagination. Please trust in your own intuition and what you are seeing and sensing and feeling at this time. But today's message, a lengthy one again from Crow, so please bear with me. I'm really struggling with my voice and this cough. It is a purging of states and vessel, everyone, so don't be alarmed. I'm okay. But today's message, last night's message from Crow was titled, Where We Find Ourselves Now. And he started with, Dear light ones, I ask that you keep an open mind with this understanding. I'm here to shed a light on all that is happening in other spaces of darkness and misaligned light. The message I bring forward today is an understanding that so many run from, the shadow. You cannot run from it. You cannot hide it. The more you deny it, the more it rears its faces to you. I see so many still haunted by the past, by torments that they truly no longer stay in their energetic field. If we can all agree that we hold too tightly to all emotions, we can agree that some big shifts need to be taking place in order to step free from the constraints that need not bind us any longer. I'm here to share a notion that you must let go of all that you once thought you knew. So many on the edge of the abyss, afraid to fall in. Yes, you may not see. Yes, you may not hear. Yes, you may feel at a loss or afraid. But you most certainly are not alone in where you find yourselves right now. So many under the surface feel the same as you, yet afraid to show up authentically through fear of ridicule, ostracization, or being deemed as unworthy compared to another. To this I say, it is time. It is time to break free from the boxes, the cages, the shackles that have been placed upon you. The world rigged for you to live in through fear of whom you truly are. I was afraid to show myself fully. I let my taboo fester and twist and eat me alive. I let it eat others alive too, instead of accepting whom I was in full heart, mind, and body. I perversed myself, told myself I wasn't worthy, or the same as my fellow brothers and sisters. I rejected me, which in turn meant that others did too. This became the only way that I learned to live. As I've said before, better to be feared than to be actually accepted in love and in heart. I wasn't ready. I was lost. I was hurt. And I truly did just want nothing more than to be seen as equal, a creative, a magical being with sight. I didn't trust my own vision. I used others, and this became problematic. My shadow took over. He led me down a path of destruction at every corner, self-sabotage my only way to cope. So this be the message. Where are you self-sabotaging your own light through fear of your true darkness? The true darkness that always will exist, your shadow. How can you embrace all sides of yourself that you may be ashamed of? Know that each being here casts a shadow, the lighter in heart, the darker the shadow behind. We all have two faces, so to speak. Get to know yours so that you can truly set yourselves free. I'll be guiding the soul to prepare a space for you to come together to explore your shadow. How to embrace all aspects of self in the depths of that darkness. To be witnessed and be brought into the light with absolute heart and a deep space of healing. I wish I knew more souls like you when I was incarnated. I must admit somewhere envious of this dear soul and the connections that she has made on this path already. I can see all beams of light connected, the strands of heart connected. It is beautiful to witness and behold. I cannot wait to be a true part of where you all find yourselves now. I'm still paying for all that I did in my life. We must work through our karma, and please know I am reaping what I've sown. I've come to terms with that, and I am grateful. I get to be here and to help all that I never reached in the spaces that I found myself in. Lost, I was truly lost. Afraid to show love, be love, accept love. I truly felt alone. My light, I diminished myself. My heart, I rejected. Humanity, I rejected. Through not feeling worthy. Oh, how lucky are you all to be part of a community that loves you and is willing to risk it all to be by your side and help you guide the path for those to come. Your strength admirable, your light unmatched, your hearts unfathomable as truth as so many points of my journey. Wow, I am utterly grateful to be here and witnessing you all shine. You are the beacons of light, you are the beacons ready to accept shadow and the darkest twists of truth. Not for the faint-hearted, but you're all ready, and it is time. Much to ponder today, dear souls. I'm watching you every step of the way. Know I hold you in your darkest hours, witnessing all that you are in glory and in power. Wield your light and hold your shadow. You are to be your own best friend. See your shadow as your lover, a mystery, a great depth to be explored. It can be pleasureful for some. More to come from this understanding. That be all today. Class dismissed. I've been wanting to say that for some time. Always thought myself perhaps a great lecturer. Oh, how I do tickle myself at times. Sending all my light, as always, Crow. And apologies, everyone. I'm really struggling to even bring forward a sentence without coughing. And I feel very much in the midst of a lot of energy, and I'm trying to really balance where I find myself now while trying to expand to understand this depth of darkness a little bit more. And I've been in spaces with other beacons of light, other forward-facing people that are stepping out right now, discussing what they've been going through in their path and in their journey. And this darkness is very much here to hold us and to shape us and to protect us. Lucifer has been stepping forward time and time again to say that he's here to help us where we find ourselves right now in our expanse, and his understanding and energy is very much in line with the divine feminine energy and the shadow, which I think might surprise some. And I've been delving ever deeper into Aleister Crowley and his life and his connections to the the Golden Dawn, and what that all meant, and the breaking down of that infrastructure as a pillar of magic somewhere. And I think that I've come to an understanding of that there were just so many souls out there just trying to seek into the understandings of ether, of magic, of science, of nature, and demonic forces were introduced into that space. And I'm coming to understand that this is not necessarily a negative understanding. It is the negative reptilian's influence that has twisted a lot of where we find ourselves right now and what to be our truth. The truth that we have over demonic energy, over darkness energy, isn't necessarily what is true in terms of the laws of the universe. We've been misguided by the negative reptilians and what that means for us stepping forward. So we are embracing our own shadow and understanding that in conjunction with the darkest of dark and also the lightest of light and everything else in between, and understanding that all beings exist in light and in dark. So as much as we are stepping towards light beings at this time, we are also stepping towards darker aspects of understanding at this time, and we are coming into unison of understanding that we are pure light and pure darkness at the exact same time. And I very much, I think, been rejecting myself in the darkness somewhere because it felt too familiar to me. And I've been in spaces in my life where I didn't want to be here anymore because that darkness took over. So I've had to be very careful in balancing my own energy, my own trauma, my own past, my own fears, and understanding that I can now traverse both spaces and be safe in those spaces. So to those that have been stepping forward and, perhaps fearful of stepping towards these energies of understanding the darkness, please know that if you are in a space of stepping towards it and feeling a little bit of fear, you have almost, that's almost a sweet spot to be in, because if you are feeling being sucked in by this energy, it means that you most certainly will not be sucked in by this energy. I hope this is making sense. So if you fear it a little bit, that's okay. You're aware of how you might have engaged with that energy at one time, where you might have been in lifetimes where the balance wasn't quite there. And I've seen myself as darker aspects of darker beings in so many different timelines, and I was placed there by teams of light to be undercover in some spaces, but in other spaces I was very much swept away by this darkness, and that has been my truth too, and that's been part of my soul's path, my part of my soul's expanse. And I'm having to really accept myself in all that I am, but knowing that I'm very much stepping towards this idea of shadow and darkness and bringing that towards the light so that everyone else can understand it. And this is definitely for a space for those to come. I definitely think the generation after mine, I'm a 90s baby, but I think the generation after me has been very much coerced into this negative reptilian space. And these understandings of the mass media and magic, and I don't know how else to describe it, but I guess just a blanket of darkness that we find ourselves in right now, that we're having to wade through and see that we can wield power from that space to help us ever counteract, the negative reptilian forces and bring us back into alignment with ourselves. So for those that have been neglecting your shadow, there is no more room for that. You are going to be pushed into a space to face your fears, to face your darkest aspects of self, and they might manifest into beings that you see with your physical eyes. This is something that has personally happened to me, and it was terrifying. I'm not going to deny that, but I knew what was happening, and I was able to bring myself into a place of balance and understand that as my truth, that it's showing up for a reason, and for me to just stand my ground and say, why are you here? I'm accepting what is happening, but what is going on? And there were so many times in my journey where I just had no idea what was going on. I was taken to spaces of darkness time and time again in what felt like utter despair, and I was just drowning in the chaos of it all, because I was having to work through previous lifetimes where I was in that chaos, and I just had to embody that as something that I understand now in the here and now. So I just pushed through. I just called upon teams of light to hold me in those spaces. I felt like I was being possessed. I felt like I was being taken over by a force that I truly didn't understand, and somewhere that was happening, but it was all within my own cosmic sphere of my own energy. It was my own lightness and my own darkness that was coming into battle with each other so that I could break free and be in more of a balance. So there's quite a lot to understand, I guess, conceptually here. And I think if you haven't physically gone through these things, it might sound a little bit far-fetched. And I think somewhere, I'm still yet to fully understand everything that has been happening to me. Slowly but surely, teams of light are stepping forward and giving me more information, but there is this kind of gray area that we find ourselves in right now, and I almost feel like I'm waiting for the collective energy to make a decision of where we find ourselves. I very much timeline hop, and I feel like I flick between understandings often. So there might be contradictions brought forward in this space because we have shifted timelines, and if that happens, I will make you aware of that. But I think some of you will understand this as time goes on. We are shifting timelines frequently, and this is connected to the negative reptilians placement and what they are doing behind the scenes, but also where we find ourselves in our collective consciousness and what we are seeding as our truth. We are seeding a space of consciousness here for us to be in the stronghold of the light, and for others that are walking the same path to be guided by us into that same space with us. We are getting out of this negative reptilian control, and we are holding a different frequency of consciousness that understands the light and the dark to be equal, and that they have to exist at the exact same time. That being said, I have so much more to share, so please do watch the next video that I post after this one, because it's going to be encompassing some things that have happened in my personal spaces that I think might help you understand where some of you might find yourselves right now. Or at least some of the energies you might have been experiencing or that you might experience in the weeks, months, years to come, everyone. But please come back to this message. We're going to create spaces for you to be exploring shadow with us, as Light Renegades, and perhaps bringing in other energies and entities in that space, other angelic frequencies. I would like to add to the Angelic Council, the GA, which is our fraction of the Galactic Federation of Light, are very much all connected into these realms. I bring my teams in time and time again to say, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to be figuring out this darkness? Am I supposed to be, working alongside Lucifer? And they say, absolutely, this is exactly where we are all in our expanse. And it's just not something that we've reached this pinnacle of understanding before, but we are collapsing down strict doctrine of religion that just doesn't have to hold weight here any longer. And there are other beings of light stepping forward and discussing all of that, and where information has come from the Bible, and it's come from galactic beings and their understanding. And this idea of God as being one man is just completely collapsing. It's not something that I ever took to heart. I felt like I understood God as a feeling, as a vibration. When I prayed to God, I felt something, but I don't think I ever believed that it was a singular man somewhere. I see God in everything, in everyone, in every being, and that is my truth, and that's the consciousness that I'm bringing forward. So if this feels like your space, please do continue to show up, because we are really seeding a space of consciousness that is going to help us and those in the future. And I think that's only just really come to the forefront of my understanding, is that that's all we're doing. We're strongholding a consciousness, a space for us to be in a different vibration aside from this negative reptilian stronghold. And it's not a stronghold any longer. They keep changing tactics, but it is futile. This is just a long span of something that we know we've already won. So please do keep that in mind. And I'm really going to try and always bring this to a space of light. I know it can be quite fearful for some, but we are totally here for you. Please do not suffer in silence. That is part of the fear that they want us to feel. Do not suffer in silence. You are not alone. This is part of a community. We're all part of the same team. Any being that is stepping forward in here, I know you. We know each other from other spaces, I can assure you, and I'm here to hold you. All of us Light Renegades are here to hold you. And but we've all had our own experiences, quite extreme at that. So we've been through a lot, and in my grand 34 years thus far, and starting to see just how much I have been through that was connected to this space my whole entire life. So being a very small child and seeing lots of very dark and scary beings and being absolutely petrified somewhere. And it's all coming back around now for me to understand, and I'm grateful for that. But more on that to come in the next video, everyone. So please do hop over and watch the next video that I post. But that's all from me and Crow today. I do find him absolutely hilarious, and somewhere I very much feel like his energy is the same as mine. And I was completely running from my shadow for a lot of my life. I think somewhere I felt like I was just pure darkness, and I was harboring a lot of this negative reptilian energy for me to transmute for the whole of humanity. That is something that I agreed upon in incarnating it this lifetime. But I think somewhere I was terrified of my power in the dark, because I know that it's very strong and it's very primal. And, somewhere we've been told that we are not allowed to be strong, especially female entities in the spaces that we find ourselves. So I think somewhere, I was fearing my own power. And now I'm coming into understanding the balance of my power in my darkness. And it is very powerful, everyone. But I also have to bring in my light to make sure that I'm balanced within that space. So have no fear of your own power. You are supposed to be powerful. This is why we are bringing all of this information to light. Because we are trying to help ourselves gain our own true essence, our own true sovereignty. And that's what we're doing, everyone. We're seeding a new layer of consciousness and a new layer of sovereignty within our full strength, in light and in dark. So do watch this space for a space for us to come together and explore more shadow. I'm not sure how Crow wants me to bring that forward, but I know that other teams of light are going to come in and wade in on this as well, because it's going to be a long process of us all accepting ourselves. And the more that we expand, the more shadow that we are going to have to delve into. And it's ever unfolding, everyone. But I'm doing my best to have as much research as I can to help you, and to all be moving together. I'm very much growing in this space with you too. Granted, I do have access to, speaking to other teams of light, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a different space of you. If you are here and you are feeling this, you are in these vibrations, you are very much at the exact same level that I am right here in the right now. Like, we are all in this together. Let's all start seeing ourselves as equal, and honestly in that space of that we can all gain knowledge from each other. There are so many people that step forward that I gained such a deep level of understanding from, and they came to me, per se, way for help, but I've learned something from them too, and it's a two-way street. So remember that, everyone. Don't be afraid to step forward. I'm here to help you as much as you are here to also help me. There are contracts that I know that I've been brought to my attention, people that I'm supposed to meet on this path, because we are supposed to help each other. This is a community. We all want this to be a communal space. So do leave your comments. Please do start speaking to each other in the comments. Like, I love reading that you all interacting with each other. It brings me the most amount of joy. And if we can bring these spaces together whilst we still have access to internet and all of those things, I just want there to be a space where we can all commune together and express how we feel and what is going on for us, and for all of us to learn together. We've all lived very, strategic spaces of lifetimes, and lives and different understandings, and that's for a reason, so that we can all come together and have a different perspective on so many facets of understanding. And every day my mind is blown by different bits of research that I find, and it's a tapestry that is being woven so finely behind the scenes of the information that is being brought forward. So I trust in all of my teams of light explicitly, but also my teams of darkness too, and I have them, and that's something that I'm learning and ever understanding. But I'm going to share that in another video, so please do head over there, watch the next video. And that's all from me and Crow today. We'll be back very, very soon, but please do take care for now.